Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB Bikini Pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Today's athlete resides in South Africa, working as a global online coach for training, nutrition, and posing. She started her personal journey in March of 2017 and 2 years later turned pro. Her first international competition was in America in 2021 and 2022, as well as in Korea in 2023 and America and Spain in 2024. So she has competed all over, and I'm really excited to hear more about her journey and learn from her. Welcome to the show, Mariska Pretorius. How are you doing?
I'm really good. How are you?
I'm amazing. I'm so happy to have you on, and I'd love to start by asking if there is anything you do think about or maybe a ritual you have right before your heel hits the stage.
Oh, that's easy. So, of course, I'm a South African. So for me, South African music, Afrikaans music is like my go-to. I'll always have it pumping in my head. You know, it kind of just boosts me, gives me extra motivation before I step on stage. So I always have my earphones with me, chill on the pillow, have that pumping, and it's kind of like, okay, it just gets me going. Like, okay, it psychs me up. And then right before stage, I'll have like a sip of red wine just to calm the nerves a little bit, because of course, it doesn't matter how pro you are, how many times you've done it, you're always stressing out when you're on stage for some reason. And yeah, so just a bit of wine and then I'm ready to hit the stage.
Nice. I find like when I'm backstage, I'll be totally cool, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, like I start shaking because it's cold. But then like I'm like, am I cold or am I shaking because I'm nervous? And then I'm just like, and then I'd have to, and it goes away and I'm all good. It's like it all gets left out on the stage. So it sounds like you've established like what helps you to just like ground yourself.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like
That's
definitely.
awesome.
I can't even imagine going on stage without having those two things. Like it's just an absolute must.
Love it. So, how did you even get into competing? Because you didn't even know it was a thing until I think like 2013, right? Or around
Yeah.
then.
So 2014.
2014.
Yeah. So my what happened is I started out doing personal training in 2014, started studying it, and then I met a personal trainer in the gym, and he was just the whole time like, "Hey, you need to compete. You need to compete." And I'm like, "Hell no, it's not my thing. No, I'm not, and I'm not
Why?
interested." I'm it I just didn't like the idea. Like I wasn't even training. Like I didn't even lift weights. Like I had this idea that if a girl's gonna lift weights, yeah, I know it's standard, but if a girl's gonna lift weights, she's gonna bulk up and it's gonna be bulky, she's gonna look manly. So I was one of those. and
Interesting.
so I started studying personal training and I designed my own program. I was a bit overweight for myself. So I lost like 15 kgs in that process of in like 3 months.
Well,
And that's just the way of training. That's not even touching dieting. Like I was eating whatever I want to. And yeah, so people started noticing me in the gym and they started commenting and coming up to me and like, hey, do you compete? Why don't you compete? Why don't you start thinking about it? And yeah, I just like it just stuck in my head. And this one guy just didn't want to let it go. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna give it a try. Why not? Let's see how it goes. And so I decided in 2016 I'm gonna do it. And then by 2016 we found out that we were moving to New Zealand. And then I went to New Zealand, couldn't compete. And then only the year after that, in 2017, I did my first competition.
wow. So
Yeah.
making that decision and then immediately coming up on resistance or something stopping you from being able to follow through on it. What made you go, well, like, I'll still do it in 2017? Because you also moved away from the gym where this person was incessant about you doing it. So, what had to change in you to go, no, I actually want to commit to this?
I think like it was just the idea that it got stuck in my head, and I got to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm in a gym. I started working in a gym in New Zealand. I met a girl that actually competed. She was in the NZ IFBB Federation, and yeah, so she's been doing it for a couple of years, and I decided, you know what, let me just go for it. Got a coach that was in South Africa based, because I didn't know best, so I was like, actually, no one told me anything. Like, if I had, if I had a younger self, like, I would have met better people like in my life to help me through the first one because I knew nothing. I think absolutely for my first three shows, I knew nothing. I was literally just standing backstage, like looking around, like, okay, what's everybody doing? Okay, it's time to pump up. Okay, what are we doing? Like, how are we going to pump up? Because my coach didn't even do that to me. She didn't, she kind of completely ghosted me. So my final six
Mhm.
weeks was I had to do it all by myself. Like I did my own thing,
Wow.
did my own nutrition, grabbed hold of a nutritionist that helped me a little bit with it, and I stuck to that nutritionist for about 2 years just to help me out with nutrition wise. And yeah, so it was completely insane. And my first one was an international show as well, so it was a pro am. Yeah, and it was about 89 ladies that I competed against. Yeah.
And how did that experience go?
Honestly, I loved it so much that I like when I stepped off stage, like we only went on stage about 12 o'clock at night. So it was insane. I was starving, everyone was starving, all the girls were complaining. And by the end of the night, like I looked back at it, the whole experience, and I'm like, you know what? I'll do this again. Like I
So
love the challenge. I love challenging myself, and I felt that was the best challenge ever. So yeah, I loved it.
it's amazing how show day can go and we still choose to do it. And a lot of
True.
it, it's like it's the process that so many of us fall in love with, truly. And I think it's really fascinating that you went from like, oh, women who lift weights get bulky to then growing as much as you have over the years. So I'm curious, like, was competing something that appealed to your strengths or something that was already within character for you, or was competing like totally out of character and it brought out some of these things like discipline or organization, routine?
For me, it was more about I was in it. It was okay. So I grew up doing sports. I was very athletic since I was 5 years old. Started doing cross country athletics at 5. Got my provincial colors at the age of 8. Got my South African colors at the age of 15, 16. I played hockey, I played netball, so I was very competitive. It runs in my family. My dad's very competitive as well. So, yeah, he pushed me a lot. And when I just felt like I'm past the stage of actually having to play hockey, running, um, and when I did that, I'm like, okay, you know what? Here's my next challenge. Here's my next sport that I get to do, and I actually loved it. Like I fell in love with the idea of going to the gym, working out, seeing the transformation, seeing my hard work pay off. Like that was just insane. So that just motivated me to just keep going.
Well, I think that seeing that process unfold and actually your discipline manifest physically is so rewarding and it does motivate you. And throughout your journey, it wasn't until like 2019 that you really started to see bodybuilding differently and start taking improvement seasons more seriously. And then after 2021, you had changed your game plan for competing. So, what did you learn from your improvement season, like your first improvement season? And what was that like for you to see your body change now instead of getting maybe leaner and showing more lines, like you started to go the other way, but for good reason, right?
Yeah. So the thing is for this is funny. So for looking at my how everything unfolded, for me it was more, at first I didn't do any off season at all. Like, didn't even think about it. Like, I was literally, how am I? Okay, it was so wrong. I know, looking back, I'm actually ashamed to announce it on live. But so when I started doing it, I just kind of, what happened is I would compete. Like, I'll decide, hey, you know what? I'm ready to compete. And then I'll jump on the wagon, start 8 weeks out, I start competing. And then after 8 weeks, I do my show. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm off season again. And then I eat whatever I want. I train however I want. Never follow through on it. And like, it reversed nothing. Like, never ever did it. And then, like, a few months later, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm ready to do a show again. 8 weeks out. Let's go again, you know? So that was how I was. And then I turned pro, and it kind of kept going. And then in 2021, I decided, you know what, it's time to actually go all in. I did my first show international with Angelica as my coach. And then after the show, she's like, you know what, you need a good improvement season. You need to actually put on muscle. You need to put on weight. You need to do a proper reverse and actually go all in. And after competing in America and looking at all the girls, I'm like, you know what? She's right. That's exactly what I need to do. But she was pregnant at the time, and it's going to be her first one. I know how excited she was. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to take that away from her, because I'm going to be demanding. I know I'm going to be demanding, even though a lot of people tell me I'm not. But I felt she needed the experience, her firstborn, and love being pregnant, and all of that, not focus on clients or someone that's a pro, and all that. So I got a new coach. He was based in Australia, and I did my first off season. And going into that off season, oh my gosh, I got to a stage where it mentally started challenging me, where I'm like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. Like, this is a lot of food. Can we kind of just like slow down? Like,
Was it the
I
food
can't eat
amount?
like.
Like, was it the amount of food you were eating that made you feel that way, or was it like seeing the weight go up as well? Like,
At first, it was all the food. Like, I
okay.
was eating over a kg of rice a day. And that was a whole lot. So I'm like, no, wait, this is a
Yeah.
lot. Like, I'm loving all the food, but also my body's not loving it so much. And but yeah, I started picking up strength and all of that, and then I never gained a lot. So then I joined. So 2 years went by. I improved a lot, like, got a lot of size. It wasn't as challenging, but then I signed up with Neil with Cash. Oh my gosh, now that was challenging. That was like next level, where I got to a stage where I'm like, you know what? I'm mentally, I'm struggling. Like, this weight problem is, I'm not used to this. Like, I haven't weighed this much since 2014. Like, I kind of need to start doing something about this weight. And he's like, no, 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 no. And I'm like, okay, can we just maintain for a week? Like, just a week. Just give me a break. Like, let my
Yeah.
mentality just sink in, and I can kind of get used to this weight, and then we can keep going. Because it's not just the weight, it's about the clothes are getting tighter, and like you can't wear like anything proper anymore, and everything tight is extra tight. So it's like, it's mentally challenging. So I'm like, please, can we stop? And then he's like, okay, we'll stop for a while. We'll maintain. And then we maintain for a week, and he's like, okay, let's go again. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's go. And
Well, it
then two
takes a
weeks
lot.
go by,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
and I'm like 2 weeks will go by, and I'm like, okay, can we maintain just a week again? Like, please, I just need this break. And that's exactly how it went. To stage where he's like, okay, you know what? Let's start cutting.
Wow. So he respected like the mental blocks that you faced with
Yeah.
growing by implementing some breaks. Like just like how in a prep you might implement a diet break or refeeds, you were implementing some mini cuts or some like maintenance phases in your improvement season just to
Oh,
help you like get more comfortable with your body and with the growing and like let's be honest, prep and improvement season demand the same amount of respect, right? So if we
oh yeah.
respect like we respect, oh, I'm getting leaner, I'm getting tighter, I'm like pushing myself. Same thing in improvement season. It's like I'm filling out my leggings, I'm starting to push heavier weights. I'm like and so it's the same and you get excited about like how much food you can eat. Like I know for me personally it's like It's so cool when you're like, oh, I was at like 150 carbs. Now I'm at 200. Now I'm in the 200 club, 250. Like, can we make it to, but then you kind of hit some points where you're like, hold on. And like
Yeah.
I need just like how like in prep right now, I'm like, hold on. Like and I'm not holding on because we've got to keep pushing. But I'm like, I'm so light right now. And but there's been times in improvement season where I was like, I'm so heavy right now. And it's
Yeah,
just
exactly.
is part of the game. And so it sounds like you learn to really adapt to that demand of an improvement season for your growth and development. What was the impact of actually taking that time off and focusing on growth?
Honestly, I have gained so much muscle. Like it was insane. I can't even if I had to do a comparison of how I used to look in like just in a year's time, like being with Cash, like the amount of growth that I've gained is insane. But it's also the discipline because I kept to my diet. I was truthful to him. Like I'll tell him like, hey, like this one time, a friend of mine, it was his birthday, so we went out and we celebrated on a Friday, and then on a Saturday night we went. I went to his place again. We had burgers again, and then on Sunday we went out and we had pizza and like a cider and everything. And so I told Cash on Monday, I'm like, I sent my chicken, and I'm like, okay, this is what we did. And he's like, okay, I'm glad you had fun, but let's time to get back on track. Like this is unacceptable. I'm glad you had fun, but yeah, it's time to get back going. So he kept me accountable, which I loved. Yeah, it was really nice. I really enjoyed being with Cash. The the openness. I could feel I can share anything with him. Yeah, I just feel like if I had to look back of everything, how much I've grown, how much muscle I've gained, and it was like all natural. He doesn't push you steroids. He doesn't push you like, let's do this, let's do that. It's natural all the freaking way, and
Wow. Are you
yeah.
still natural? Do you mind me asking?
So the only thing I will use is clean to help me cut my body
Okay.
fats.
So
Yeah,
you didn't use anything in your growing season, nothing.
no, yeah.
Yeah, you've grown so much. And that's a, like, because I was going to ask you, like, what do you attribute your growth to? And it sounds like for you, it was finally taking that time away and really pushing the food and pushing the weights. And you've always loved training and prioritized that. Sounds like for forever, but nutrition wasn't always like top of mind for you. I've
No.
been really curious though. You said multiple times, like, I would just eat whatever I want, but I'd still train hard. I'd eat whatever I want. What did eat whatever you want mean to you?
Oh, oh, okay. So South African treats. I'm a South African girl, so there's a whole lot of South African food that is absolutely delicious. So I'm like, if I'm talking about South African food, it's like boerewors, it's steak, it's your so it's poppin gravy. So it's like a tomato relish. So yeah, it's a maize meal that you take and you make like it's like, well, it's a starch, but it's like you'll make it and it creates like a cereal type of thing that you can have in the mornings, but it's like crumbly. So then you have like
Mm.
you can make like tomato and onion and you throw it over, and then you have like you can do it in a bake, so you can add cheese and bacon and mushroom to it, and yeah,
Wow.
so there's a whole lot of other things. There's like a corn tarts that you can do that we do. Oh my gosh, there's so many. There's a malva pudding. There
Mm.
is there's so many good things. Like absolutely, I love my South African food, and I feel like I've gained so much I've gained so much weight being back in South Africa in my few months, but I'm working on it to maintain again and actually work it
Awesome.
off.
You know what? I like how when you're talking about this, it doesn't sound like you're feeling guilty. It just sounds like when like you will give yourself freedom, like for a birthday celebration, but you also are committed to your plan. Has it ever been challenging for you to navigate like going from do whatever I want, eat whatever I want to like the bikini mindset of I've got to prep, but I've got to grow, I've got to track things. Like, how have you navigated some of those maybe mindsets with food and your body?
Oh, it was hard in the beginning. Oh, I refused. So I had this massive Coke craving, like an absolutely massive, like point addictive to Coke. Like Coca-Cola was my
For a
go-to.
second, I was like, wait, Coke? Like
Coca-Cola.
cocaine? And then I was like, okay, no, she means Coca-Cola. I was like, girl, what?
No,
Well, that's
that's
why
why
you
I said
did a diet.
Coca-Cola.
You were just going for it.
So, yeah, Coca-Cola.
To be clear.
But so I was like I could not let it go. Like I was to a point where I will sit and then it's like a week out and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll cut it for a week. And then it's a week and then as soon as like prep is done, the show's day, I'm like, yeah, back into the Coke. And then like I could not let it go. Like it was such a struggle. And then the other thing is um so I had to create a mindset like if I'm not allowed to eat something, then don't give it to me. Like, please don't give it to me because I'm just like, it's horrible. Like, so for me, if I have a steak, it has to have a nice piece of fat on it. Like, I love a fatty piece of steak. Like, oh my gosh, it's even biltong, like it's beef jerky, but in South Africa, it's biltong.
Huh.
Oh my god, yeah, it is insane. So you can't give me a piece of biltong without fat on it. It's like it's a no go for me. So every time we had to cook steak, and my I had an ex, and he'll go and he'll cut my piece of fat off. I was so angry at him. I won't talk to him
I
for weeks
bet.
because
You were probably like, dude,
so
I'm not about to eat this flank steak. Like, I want the ribeye. I'm looking at a
I was
photo of biltong. I'm like, dang, this looks good.
it is freaking amazing. Like it's every South African's addiction.
It's hilarious.
So yeah, so there's a few things like I just decided, you know what, if I not allowed to eat this, then I can't eat it. Like I need to realize like I can't. And so I just started taking it away. So like pasta, I love pasta, but then I incorporated like even going into my off season, if I go into a maintenance phase or when I'm done with a show, I have never like okay, now since being back in South Africa, I've gone to a few places visiting family and friends where they actually cook to me pasta. But for myself, before I came to South Africa, I haven't had pasta in over 4 years. Like I just don't make it. Like I don't cook it to myself. So, it's something that I just cut it because I knew, like, okay, I'm not allowed to eat this in my prep. So, why am I treating myself with it? So, there's a lot of foods that I kind of started taking out of my diet completely.
Hmm.
I don't even go there. Like, even bread, I don't eat a lot of bread. I try to stay away because as soon as I taste it, then I started craving it. So, if I cut
Mhm.
it, then I forget how it tastes. I forget, how it feels. And that's exactly how I felt about pasta as well. Like, the creaminess, the sauciness, yeah, just completely cut it.
Yeah, that's interesting because I think what matters about that is the intention behind it, the mindset behind it. I have a lot of clients who struggle with their relationship with food and they'll tell me like they just want to remove it. And a lot of the times I tell them, don't remove it. Don't remove it. Let's expose yourself to it slowly. Let's make it normalized. Once they normalize it, then they don't want it anymore. They can remove it. It's not a big deal. And they're less likely to binge on it when they do have it. And I find that's to be really effective. But similarly, there's times where it's like there's certain foods where also your body maybe doesn't respond well. Maybe it doesn't make you feel great. And in those cases, it might be worth considering removing it. And I know when I was little, I struggled with I can't say I struggled with my weight because I didn't weigh myself, but like I was what my dad would call husky. And I was bigger and I was a big girl. And I remember like um one one year I just decided I'm never drinking soda again and I'm never eating French fries again unless it's from this particular restaurant that I it was only in this one state that I visited my grandparents at. Okay, so I was like, that's if we go there, I'll eat their fries because
Yeah.
I don't want my grandparents, that's an experience. So long story short, I still haven't had it. Now, granted, I'm like more lax on the fries because I had coaches who were like, hey, eat some French fries or fill out, not anymore, but in the past. And then
Yeah.
like now I'm like a little bit more chill on that. But soda? No, I just like, and I don't want it. So that speaks to your point too about when you cut
Yeah,
it out, your cravings change. And I don't know if you're a woman of faith, but for me, like I also look at it as an opportunity to practice like relief from gluttony or a gluttonous desire when you remove something. It's almost like fasting. And there's this really
yeah,
interesting passage in the book of Daniel where he's offered to eat the king's feast. And he tells them, no, I only want vegetables and water, no wine, none of this like, incredible spread. And it was his way of like nourishing his body so he could be a better vessel for God. And I thought, and to reduce like this idolization of food. And I
yeah.
find this is back to, I know I'm rambling now. I just get really passionate about food relationship discussion, but I think it goes back to like intention and what's your intention behind how you're fueling your body and nourishing your body, how you're eating. So then you take yourself, for example, and you go to the place that you love where you're born and raised, and that's South Africa, and you get to enjoy the South African foods, but you see that maybe it's not ideal for you as an athlete year round. How do you approach it when you are maybe incorporating some of those things that you really enjoy? Because it sounds like you're kind of a foodie with South African food
Oh,
culture. So, how do you
got
navigate that?
it. So, for me, it was quite easy. So in New Zealand, um, the food, I just didn't like the food. Like it just tasted completely different.
Hmm.
So even though you made something, it just didn't taste the same. I remember going to New Zealand in my first year, I could not eat red meat. I refused to eat red meat because it just tasted horrible, like
Huh.
absolutely horrible. Yeah, honestly, it was not great.
I wonder why.
Same yeah. So like I was a gravy person. Like I remember when I was eating in South Africa, people asked me like, you know how you get your rice and then you put your gravy over it. So people always ask me, are you having gravy with your rice? You know, because my gravy was more than my rice. But
Yeah, I hear that. I'm like, are you having coffee with your creamer? A little bit.
so when I got to New Zealand, their gravy powder is very watery. Like it's not as creamy as South Africa. It's not as thick as South Africa. So it just didn't taste great. Same with French fries. Like I hated French fries. I could not eat French fries in New Zealand. Refused. Absolutely refused. So there's only two places in in New Zealand that I would eat French fries, and the one was Reburger, and the other one was going into a place there is in Auckland, Wahlberg's Burger. Oh my gosh! So Wahlburger, I think
Yeah,
Wahlberg's. Yeah,
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 Wahlberg. Yeah, Whataburger?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Whataburger.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
so, so that's the only two places where I actually have French fries. It's the only two places that are actually great. The rest of like I don't just it just didn't taste great. So I was completely put off French fries. Even till date, I don't eat French fries. In South Africa, there's one place that I know absolutely makes the best ones. So I feel like every time I had French fries, I was so disappointed. Like man, did I just waste my calories on these French fries and it doesn't even taste amazing? So I'm a person like if I eat something, I didn't like it, I won't go back to the place where I bought it. Like there's no way you've completely lost my trust. Like I just don't go back. I won't waste my money in that way. Won't waste my calories and I won't waste my
I
money.
know it's like the calories. Like, sorry, not spending them on you anymore.
So yeah, and it just got to a stage like sushi. I love sushi in South Africa, absolutely love sushi. Got to New Zealand, hated it. Like could not get a place where I could actually find decent sushi. So I just stopped eating sushi in New Zealand. Like I got disappointed and I got over the point of being disappointed every time I tried it. I'm like, I'm wasting my money. I'm not enjoying it. Why am I buying it? Why am I still trying? And then I just completely cut it. French fries, same thing. Completely cut it. Only two places that I'm like, okay, I know it's going to be good. Doesn't matter what, when you go, where you go, it's always going to be great. Um, but yeah, it's just those small touches. Like, as you keep going, as you keep prepping, there's a few things that you just decide, I'm going to cut it. I don't feel like it anymore. It's just not my thing. I'll rather spend those calories on something else that I actually enjoy.
So
And I
true.
actually enjoyed making my own food.
Well, I was going
I'm
to
a
ask
cook.
if you've
Like, I
ever
love
made,
cooking.
do you make like prep versions of these foods that you really like?
Oh yeah, I do.
That's
I
awesome. Tell us
incorporate
your
it.
secrets. Like what is your cooking like approach?
So I love, so for me, South Africa is all about curries. We have a Durban lamb curry. So I incorporate like a masala, which is a natural herb. I do like a curry powder. So most of
Hmm.
my food have those things incorporated into it. And then I also love anything chili. So chili, I am a very big Tabasco. So I don't do condiments at all. Like I don't like tomato sauce. I don't like mustard. But give me peri peri sauce. Oh my gosh, it's like the way to my heart.
What is that?
So anything peri peri, like Tabasco. There's a few American things. I can't
Oh,
even remember all the because Louisiana is a really good one. I love
okay.
Louisiana. Which one? There's another one that I really like in America. Damn, I can't remember. But yeah, I'm always on the shop for good peri peri sauce, like anything spicy, like the
Hmm.
spicier the better. Like I just love it. So I'll always put that on my rice and my chicken, and I just like I I'll die. Like I'd rather have that for my lunch than anything else.
That's so funny. I feel the same way about some of my prep foods. I'm like, I just want more of it. Like, I
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
the chicken and zucchini and rice or beef, zucchini and rice, like that kind of
Oh,
stuff. Can't get enough. It's just like you really learn to not even learn, you just love the food that you eat and competing really is a blessed sport. Like if you think about it, we get to nourish our bodies with such good food for every meal. It's really incredible and obviously for you having a passion for cooking and wanting to also satisfy your goals, how did you go from the improvement season or the lack thereof, like no improvement season, to then being like a advocate for taking those improvement seasons? Was it the results that made you see, okay, this is worth taking growth seasons for, or was it something else? Say goodbye to the post show blues and make peace with food and your body through the 7-day coaching series that is built to support you in embracing your improvement season. This is a free coaching series that I have put together to support you in eating without guilt or judgment, knowing how your relationship with food, yourself, exercise, and your body reflects in other areas of your life. Really get clear on your prep identity versus off-season identity and finding balance after a competition, as well as improving your body image. Plus, there's even a bonus training for those of you who do enroll, and this is going to change the way that you feel in your improvement season, change the way you feel about yourself, food, and your body. If you want access to this, you can get instant access to the trainings right now by visiting www.celestial.fit/post show.
I feel like it wasn't just like the actual results. It was more the discipline around it. Having to go onto that improvement phases. It- I was I was pushing just as hard as I would have been in prep. So I actually felt like I was prepping all year round because I was constantly doing a chicken, constantly sending of chicken photos, constantly weighing my food. Did not go over or under my weight. I did exactly to the T. Like I was very precise. I was like, I will like if I go to friends, if they're having it. Like I had friends, South African friends in New Zealand, and they were having parties like every single weekend, almost every single weekend. And then I'll go to their house, and they're always having the best meals. And like we had a winter in July party, and I'm like sitting there. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna cook my own meal. So yeah, I'll bring my own meals. You guys can go, you can go ahead and eat. So I got there, have my own meals, just heat it up, and they just knew it. They just accepted it. So I had the best friends to actually accept who I was and what I do
Mm.
and respect that this is my decision and this is if I can come, but they need to know this is my, this is the things that I need to do. And they accepted it, which I love my friends for it. And I remember the one time I went to a friend's house and we were watching rugby, and I'm like, you know what? We watched the rugby and it was finished, and it was the next rugby game that came on. And she was like, "Oh, you're gonna stay?" I'm like, "No, I can't stay. I have a meal that I need to go and eat. I didn't bring a second meal, for my final meal for the night." And she's like, "Oh, okay. So what do you eat? Like, what's your meal that you need to eat?" I'm like, "Okay, chicken and rice and greens." And she's like, "Okay, what, chicken breast?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "What greens? Like green beans, broccoli, like asparagus. What are you eating?" And I'm like, "Yeah, everything green." And so I went out, like I walked out of the lounge and I walked into the kitchen, and she was literally preparing my meal for me. Like, okay, what
Oh,
spices are you allowed to have? So she was cooking for me just so
sweet.
I can go and stay with them for the night, to finish the game. So for me, it was about going all the going all the way, having the discipline. Because if I didn't have the discipline in the off season, I wasn't going to have that discipline in the on season. So for me, it was that mindset switch. Going all in, going all out, going all year round. So it just created a better lifestyle for me. It created a better routine for me, better commitment. I was more enthusiastic. I loved my meals. Like I said, like I even today, like now in South Africa, if I go to people, I'm like, okay, I'm cooking my own breakfast, I'm cooking my own lunch. I'll eat with you guys for dinner, but breakfast and lunch is my thing. Like, this is what I'm gonna do. So my oatmeal in the morning with my peanut butter and cinnamon is my go-to. Like, I can't imagine a life without it. My rice and my chicken, or vegetables and chicken in the afternoon, or mince and chicken, mince and rice. Like, oh, can't imagine my day without
Yeah.
it. Like, that's my go-to. So at night, I'll go and I'll eat with my family, or I'll eat with my friends, and have a bit of a relaxed feed, thing going on. But yeah, if I'm traveling, I cook my own meals now traveling. So I try to stick that, even though I'm not competing this year. Like this year, I'm just focusing on family, friends. So, but I still want to keep that discipline, keep that routine, so I don't fall out of it.
I think that's a really great point is you can have a routine and still have some flexibility within that structure. Like as long as you set those intentions and you communicate, it makes all the difference. And I'm wondering for you, how has competing maybe influenced things like developing relationships or work or finances or friendships? How does it actually affect like the development of those things?
So friendships, it was really hard in the beginning. But like if I need to go back on it, it wasn't really. It's hard to say. I can't really talk about previous experiences because in my first few years of bodybuilding, let's say up until 2022, I had an ex that was very, I don't even know how to describe him, but he was very, I wasn't allowed to have friends. I wasn't allowed to go out. The only thing I was allowed to do was to go and have a training session. So gym was my advocate. Gym was my go-to, my friends, my getaway, my help. It's like I've mentioned this before in a podcast, and like it saved my life going into bodybuilding, because it was my get out of my world, like get out of my head, get out of my situation at home. I was physically abused, mentally abused, financially abused with my ex. So I wasn't allowed to have people because then I'll tell them what he's doing to me. I wasn't allowed to talk to people because he'll go on my phone and have a look to see who am I talking to. So I can't really say in the past like how it affected my finances because he was controlling my finances. I wasn't allowed to compete a lot. I was allowed to do one trip a year. And he would say which trips and he'll control the finances and all of that. But since 2022, 2023, 2024, I took control of that. I went my own way, did my own thing. I actually did challenges. So I started doing like fitness challenges, meet South African people. Started a friendship with one of the girls that I met, and she became one of my best friends till today. Best friend. And then through her, I went to like barbecues, and from a barbecue, I'll meet more people, and then they invite me to more things. And so I developed more friendships, more relationships with people that I didn't have because I was actually completely alone in New Zealand. And then financially, it was a struggle, but I had a really good job. So I was saving up. I didn't really do a lot throughout the year. I didn't go out really. So I wasn't drinking. I wasn't smoke. Like, I don't smoke, but I wasn't drinking. So I wasn't spending it on normal things like how other people go on holidays. So I'll have a holiday when I do my trip. When if I go on if I do my trip to America to compete, it takes up all my leave that I have, and then I'll save up. I'll do extra challenges. I'll do extra things just to make more money. And because in New Zealand you didn't have any sponsorship, so you had to do everything yourself. Yeah, so that was challenging at sometimes, but I still managed it, and I actually maybe couldn't afford everything at the most expensive go with the best of the best, but I got away with what I could get for my budget that I had. I think last year was my biggest show that I've done. Also, the biggest budget. I actually didn't create a budget. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going all in. I'm going to put everything into this. And yeah, that was challenging. Actually, I had a lot of challenges with last year's whole experience from the beginning to the end. But yeah, it's challenging creating friendships if your friends don't understand what you're going through, what it is that you're doing. My friends knew what I'm doing. So I know there's a lot of people like, oh, they lost their friendships because they don't understand what they're doing. They don't respect it. My friends did. My friends knew exactly what I'm doing. They respected it. They were my biggest cheerleaders. And some people will come and train with me. When I'm doing my cardio, a friend of mine will come and jump on a cardio with me, and like he'll keep me company to help me finish my cardio. So I had great friends. I made the best friends in New Zealand. And yeah, I don't think the prep would have been the same without them because I had a work-life balance that I was, aiming for. And even though I was getting up at 3 o'clock in the mornings, I'll get up at 3, went to the gym, train to 7 o'clock, finish up full, to have a shower, finish up full work, go to work, and then I'll work till like 7 o'clock at night sometimes, maybe even 8. And then I go home, prepare meals, and eat my food, go to bed, and then I'm like next morning same routine. But I had a bit of flexibility, and if I had time for friends, I'll make that time for friends. So you need to know that you can't just cut everyone out. You need to know that you need to incorporate them into your life. You need to make time for them. You can't expect, okay, hey, I'm prepping, you can't see my friends, you can't be with them. You completely isolate yourself from friendship, from the world, because you're scared that you're going to fail, or you're going to fall back into a bad habit, or you're going to eat something you're not supposed to. Okay, well, then you're in the wrong mindset. You're not supposed to be competing in the first place. So, yeah, I just think I had a really good environment. And even for work, like, work loved it. The fact that I was competing, they loved the fact that for my competing, it drove me. So I was very driven, I was very motivated, and that reflected back into my work ethic. So they loved the fact that I was competing because I was working just as hard at my work.
That's awesome. I think that speaks volumes too to your character. It wasn't like, I'm going to compete and therefore everything else takes the back burner. Instead, it was like you leveled up in all areas. I want to go back to the unhealthy relationship that you got out of. How did you escape from that? Because that was a very controlling environment, a very abusive environment. How did you actually get out of it?
Honestly, looking back at it, I don't know. Like, for months after the whole relationship ended, I was sitting back and I'm like, I don't know how I got out. Like, I don't know how I did this. Like, how did I get out of this? I don't know how. It's like I just got strength inside me. So
Mm.
I'm just gonna go a little bit like back of how it made me feel. And I think I was over of how I felt. So in my life, in the first few years in New Zealand, every single day I will drive, and every time I saw a truck passing by me, I'll close my eyes and I'll wish inside me, can this truck please end my life? Because I don't want to live like this anymore. Like I don't want to live. Like I'm so miserable. I don't know how to get out of this misery. I'm in New Zealand. In a different country. I'm only a resident. I still need to get my citizenship. I don't have any money. My ex is controlling all the money. I'm not allowed to speak to my family. So no one knows exactly what's going on. I had to go through everything on my own, all the abuse, rushing to ERs because he abused me. So I think when I moved down, so we relocated to a new city and found a job there that really saw my potential, and they gave me a really good challenge. So they offered me a job as a manager, and at the beginning, I kind of refused. Like he told me, "You can't do this. You don't have what it takes to be a manager. You can't manage people." And I believed him because he was my partner. So I'm like, okay, he won't lie to me. If he tells me like, hey, you can't do this, you don't have what it takes, then he must be right. So I didn't listen to him. Well, I listened, and then after like a month went by, and I saw this guy hit the temp replacement, and I'm like, I'm doing whatever this guy's doing. I'm actually doing all the work. I can do this job. So I went back to them. I'm like, you know what? This guy's temporarily. Can I please have a challenge? Can I get the job? I just want to show you guys that I actually want to show myself that I can do this. And within a few weeks, like I started getting really good feedback. People told me like they know now why I'm the manager and why the place is working. The place that I worked for wasn't making money. It was always in the red, and for the first time when I took over, it started making profit. And then it was 6 months in that position when I got offered a new position where I was upgraded to even bigger manager. So I went into F&I, which is finance and insurance for dealerships, car dealerships. And yeah, I saw my potential. I think it was just the environment that I was in. And because I was upping myself, I think I was proving to myself whatever he said to me is actually not true. Like he told me, you don't have what it takes. Or when I go on stage, he'll tell me you don't deserve to be standing next to all these girls because you don't look as good as these girls. You don't have what it takes to be amongst these girls that's pro athletes. Um, he'll completely break me down. That he made me feel like I was worthless, like I don't deserve anyone. He's the best I can ever get. Like he made me feel like I was a piece of trash. Like I couldn't even look someone in the eye because every time I looked someone in the eye, I felt like unworthy, or like, man, this person must be looking at me and like thinking, what the hell is she looking at, you know? So for me, I feel like when I started that new position, upping myself as a manager, I got more confidence. I got more self-respect. I was getting more compliments because I was working hard in the gym. I was seeing a lot of people started noticing me, so it gave me a confidence boost. And it just got to a point where, like, he got a new job and he relocated back to where we actually stayed, and I wasn't ready to relocate. I told him like, I'm not relocating. I'm staying where I am. We will have to do long distance. So we ended up doing long distance and started fighting more and more and more. And then it got to this one stage where I was sitting, and he phoned me. We were planning a trip to Hawaii, and I asked him to join me for the trip, and he had every excuse to not join me. And like every time we talked about like, because I did the trip for him, Hawaii's on his bucket list, like number one bucket list. So I chose Hawaii so he can experience Hawaii. We'll go for a little holiday afterwards. And then what happened is I was sitting and planning, and then he phoned me and he's like, okay, no, he's not going to do it. He'll rather go to South Africa on his own and visit his mom. And I'm like, okay, so am I not allowed to go to South Africa? And he's like, no, he wants to go see his mom alone. I'm doing this trip. He's going to go. When I go there, he's going to go there. And so we ended up having this fight, and for a whole hour, he told me how unworthy I am, how bad I am at this, and like nothing I'm doing is great, nothing I'm doing is good enough. And like after an hour, I stopped him. I actually switched my phone because he wasn't speaking. I'm like, I switched my phone off, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, you know what? I listened to you for a whole hour. of explaining of how bad I am and how I'm not great. And clearly you're unhappy. And where I'm sitting right now, I'm very heartbroken. Like, I'm not happy. I think we should take a break. And he's like, yeah, sure, Kat, I'll bring the separation documents for us to sign this weekend. And we saw a counselor. I think this is where my mindset changed for us. So a few years in 2021, we went to counseling and we saw a counselor, and the counselor told, like, we were going through phases of love language and what's our love language. And I was sitting there and listening to this counselor, and at the end of the session, I realized, you know what, I'm holding on to a person that actually doesn't want to be with me. Like, I'm holding on to this person. I'm begging this person to stay with me. I'm going on my knees, begging, apologizing when it wasn't even my fault. Like, apologizing just to have peace in the house. And then when I walked out of that counseling session, I decided, you know what? I'm not doing that again. If he wants to go, there's the door. Let him go. Doesn't matter how hard it is. Doesn't matter, how heartbroken I am. How longing I'm gonna be. If I'm financially struggling, I'd rather go sit on the street and struggle. I'd rather become a hobo than you have not, continue this relationship, because I can't do it to myself anymore. Like, this person doesn't want to stay. So why am I making a person stay if he doesn't want to stay? And so then rewinding, going forwarding all the way through a couple of years later, is when it came to that stage where he left, I decided that I'm not going to follow him. He's leaving. So I promised myself I'm not going to follow through again. So when I told him, okay, let's take a break, and he suggested the separation, I'm like, okay, he suggested it, we're going through with it. And it actually came, we signed the separation documents, because you need to be legally separated in New Zealand for 2 years before you can actually get a divorce.
Oh, 2 years there.
So
Huh?
2 years.
Wow.
So yeah, so we signed the documentation. It was back in September 2022. And yeah, I just stuck to it. Like, doesn't matter how hard it was, doesn't matter how heartbroken. Luckily, I had friends that I can fall back to. I had a great company that that was there for me throughout. They really went out of their way for me to actually be there. They helped me in situations where I was feeling really, really bad, or where I was heartbroken. One of the managers, like my dealer principal at MGN Aval, which I was working for, he'll come into my office when I'm sad or when I'm crying, and he'll close the door and we'll have a private conversation, and he'll talk to me as if he's my father.
Hmm.
And I appreciated those friendships, because it wasn't just friendships at for with friends, but it was also work relations. And I can't imagine having those people not there, because all of them, friends, colleagues, everyone was there for me right through the whole thing. And they just helped me get through it. And yeah, so I think it was the mindset started with that counseling session, where I decided, this is it. I'm never going to do it again. If he walks, he walks. You're not begging. You're not asking. If a person wants to go, why are you making him stay? If he wants to stay, he'll come back. And he tried coming back, but he had conditions, and he had a new girlfriend. So he met a new girl that looked exactly like me. And yeah, exactly. I know. So he phoned me. So he was with her for a couple of months, and he phoned me, and he's like, you know what? He can't do this. He doesn't want to throw away 10 years of a relationship. He is really sorry. And like, how can we work this out? He wants me back. And I'm like, okay, how's this going to work? You have a friend, you have a girlfriend. He's like, yeah, but she's not you. And he's really struggling with the relationship. And she's just not me. Like, he can't, she's not me. Doesn't matter how hard he tries. And I'm like, okay, so first thing is you need to break up with her. We need to reconnect. So we need to start long distance dating again and see if it works, because I'm a new person. I'm not that person that wash over, push over
Exactly.
that you used to date. I'm a new person. So you need to accept me for who I am. I'm not changing. And then you need to accept that I need to find a job there in Auckland. So I need to move back to Auckland. It's going to take a process. It's going to take a couple of months. And then he's like, okay, I need to give him time, because he needs to end it nicely with this girl, because, she doesn't deserve it and everything. So a week went by, and he phoned me, and he's like, you know what? Yeah, he thought about it. My conditions doesn't meet his criteria, because he doesn't want to let her go. He wants me to be in Auckland, and then he'll let her go. And I'm like, excuse me, are you freaking kidding me? So I'm gonna do all the effort again. I'm gonna go through all the months of finding a job, quitting my job, giving a month notice, moving up to Auckland, and then I get there, and then you tell me, hey, sorry, it's been a couple of months. I actually fell in love with this girl. I'm gonna stay with her. Or, hey, shit, I got her pregnant. Oops, you know. So I'm like, hell no,
Mhm.
sorry, that's not gonna work for me. Sorry, this is not working. And he got so vindictive. I had to get um a, I went to the police to get a affidavit against him so he can stop contacting me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Extremely toxic and not unsurprising for that type of person. And I'm
No.
sad that you went through that, but also it sounds like you turned a lot of that pain into more purpose and passion, and you were able to grow as yourself as an individual and to be able to uphold those boundaries and standards is amazing. And I think sometimes people will hear stories like this and think, well, why would you even consider going back? Or why would you even want to fight for that relationship? And what is often misunderstood is those types of abusive relationships are they're very enticing in some ways because of what you've been taught by that person or what's been ingrained from that person or what they've maybe hinted at or promised, and it never follows through. So the fact that you got out of it, you made your own way in life, you established new and healthy friendships too, and then you were able to separate from him and eventually be completely done with him. That's incredible. Now, you ended up going to Hawaii
I
and
guess I did.
succeeding. So I think that's amazing that you still did that. Did you turn it into a vacation for yourself or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yes, I did. Oh yes, I
love
did.
it.
I had an absolute blast in Hawaii. It was so freaking good. I met so many people. And it was like I met great people out on my Hawaii trip. You know, I went like one of the judges took me out and we went to have a like fresh poke. He took me to a coffee place. We went to the gym together. I met someone else from America. He's a chief firefighter. So we went on like a coffee and then we went for dinner together. And like, you know, I just met all these people and like everywhere I actually got. Oh, and I had friends like Kiki and
Yeah.
so Kiki, what? Yeah. So I met her at the show. So I went with her and her ex. We went to you know, like dinner that night at night, and we pub crawled. And then the next morning we went for breakfast, and like yeah, so I spent a lot of time with them as well, and it was oh, and we went to sushi as well one night. It was really amazing. So yeah, I had a blast while I was there.
That's so awesome. I love that. Like you seem like the type of person who just makes the best of where they're at and what they're doing. And I also really admire that the way you described, you gave your all to your last prep. Like there wasn't necessarily a budget. Like you were like, I'm going all in, I'm giving it my all on every single level. And I think sometimes when people do that, they almost become over attached to an outcome. Like, I have to win, I have to be on top, otherwise, it wasn't worth it. But it sounds like you see it as it was worth it because of all that you gained from friendships, from experiences, from your time in America, and so on.
Oh yeah, like every time I go to America, I love America. Don't get me wrong. Like I would love to live in America. Actually, I was considering it. I was going to live in America. Actually, I'm still it's still like a 50-50 thing. But you know, um going to America, being there, I love America. Everything about America. I always make friends there. I love the vibe. I love the people. You know, I'm a very people person, so I can go anywhere and make friends. Like, we were actually laughing about it because in South Africa, I went out to a bar one night. It was like a restaurant bar slash thing. But it was highly recommended. So I went there for dinner and I met this couple of people that was sitting there, and like they had kids and the kids were naughty, and like they had to bribe them with milkshakes. And so a conversation started where he's like, oh, please don't judge. And I'm like, no, you need to do what you need to do, you know. I understand,
Mhm.
you know. And it started playing out as a joke, and then like small talk, and then one of the kids spilled milkshake over one person's top. And they're like, oh shit, what are we gonna say? And then I'm like, oh shit, it's the one person that can't happen to. Like, he's gonna be so angry. And he's like, okay, then they're gonna blame the little one on it, and it's someone else's kid. And they're like, okay, they're gonna blame it on him. And they're like, they can't blame our kid. He didn't do it. And he's like, yeah, but he's smaller, so he'll understand it if it's younger, you know? And this guy looked at me, who's the father of the young boy, and he looked at me, he's like, oh no, we're gonna blame this on you. And I was sitting on a table
Love
behind
it.
me. And he's
Uh,
and he came and he put the top with the milkshake on my table. And like, as he turned away, this guy started coming, like walked out of the bar with a couple of his friends. And as they walked out, he's like, this beautiful girl just spilled milkshake all over your top, you know? And
yeah.
like, he looked at me like, oh, like, how the hell did you do that? And he looks at me, he's like, how did you do that? And I'm like, oh, I don't know, I'm a klutz, you know. It just
You
happened.
took the fall.
I was playing along. And this guy's like, no, seriously, how the hell did you do it? I'm like, oh no, it was not me. So I blamed the little one on it, like the little boy, and
That's
everybody like started laughing. And he's like, I'm like, no, no, it wasn't him. It was, you know, so I told him who it was. But we actually sat there and we started chatting, and like they invited me to become part of their circle, and we had shots and
oh,
drinks. And yeah, and they're like, okay, so we're gonna have more shots. Are you staying, or are you driving? I'm like, no, no, I'm driving. I need to go home. But it also got cold, so he's like, okay, do you want my jacket? Did you spilled on? And I'm like, no,
oh
no,
gosh.
I'm actually gonna go home. So, I can actually make friends wherever I go. I'm like a very open-minded, very people person. Like, I don't get offended easily. So if you're gonna like pull that kind of joke on me, I'll actually go with the joke and
For sure.
actually end up having a good time and actually make friends. So wherever I go, I like in South Africa, like everywhere I go, I have someone to stay over with, and it's either a family or a friend that I live with.
Wow. I think that's so awesome. I mean, I got that impression from you with how easy you are to talk to, and I can totally see that. And I love that because you are just a genuine person and you like to connect. Are you that way at shows too? Like, are you that way
Oh yeah,
backstage? Yeah,
be player.
I can
Yeah,
see.
100%.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think it's a great trait to have, to be able to make friends wherever you go. And obviously, it's something that has served you well. Now, looking at all the shows you've done, you've not yet had the opportunity to compete in South Africa. So your family's not right.
Yeah.
So your
No,
family hasn't seen you on stage.
no, and they weren't able to do it. Like I told my dad, if I reach Olympia, if I can go to Olympia, I'll buy him a plane ticket to come and see me go on stage, because in South Africa they don't have any pro shows. Like, so if you're a pro in South Africa, they have like their national competitions like NBC, but they don't have any pro athletes, bikini athletes. So if you become a pro in South Africa, you need to go overseas to compete as well. So unfortunately, it's something that my family, friends over here will never be able to see unless they go with me to an international show.
Yeah, and that's a lot for them too. Do you
Yeah.
have a favorite show that you've done though?
Oh, favorite show. That's hard. If I go all in everything about the show from the beginning to the end, I would say I loved Hawaii. Hawaii is my number one, definitely Hawaii. And then I loved Alicante as well. I'd love to do Alicante in Spain again. I think it was really awesome during the pro conference. Everything that they do for the show is absolutely, Emilio puts a lot of effort into it. That's really an awesome show to do. So I love to do like more competitions around Europe. I think it's bigger. It's more advertised. You kind of feel more like a pro athlete when you're there. But yeah, all in all, if I need to choose a show to do again, that would be it.
That's
A
awesome.
show not to a show not to do. Like a
Uh-oh.
show that I won't do ever again is I won't ever compete in Asia shows ever again. Like, I
Really? What
don't.
happened?
So every time I went to like an Asian show, they either had the tan wrong or the hair was wrong. They can't do extensions. The makeup looks fake. Like, it doesn't look like It doesn't look, you know how something suits and something doesn't suit?
Yeah.
That's how I find the Asian shows, like, and the miscommunications. I feel something always goes wrong there. So, um, yeah, and like my tan was so spotty and greeny, and like, oh no, it was horrible.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
I promised myself I'll never do an Asian show again. Although it was great. Korea was amazing. Their production, oh my gosh, production, first production, like number one production, Korea by far. Like their production was next level. Coming out of a robot, that was the ultimate goal.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting to hear about those differences in different countries. And something that I'd be curious to hear about from you too is like you've talked about this in other interviews, but I wanted to hear more, which is you've been told to change categories from bikini because of like the hardness of your physique when you're lean. But then you've shared how happy you are in bikini despite people telling you maybe you'd do better in a different division. This is something I think a lot of people are going through right now with the new fit model division. There's a lot of bikini competitors who are being told, like, now you're not going to succeed in bikini. You should go to fit model. Or there's fit model competitors who are now being told, well, no, maybe you just need to grow into bikini. Like, there's these weird zones. So you seem to have said, no, I'm going to prioritize where I want to be because I don't like this look as much as I like this look. Can you talk to us more about how you've navigated that kind of feedback from other people and what you've done to like prioritize what division makes you
Oh,
happy?
so firstly, I would say going and when I started competing, it was bikini. So I was very quad dominant, very quad dominant. I had to completely stop training quads, like and completely. I was not allowed to touch quads at all. And yeah, biceps, triceps. I don't train my triceps. I don't train my biceps because I have very big overall biceps and triceps. It's something that I've gained through my sportiness and hockey, netball, athletics. But yeah, so first thing when I started, I did bikini, and people told me like, your quads are too dominant. You need to kind of grow down. You need to get away with the quads. You need to, and I'm too hard. So I'm like, okay, fine. They're like, you need to move into something else. And they keep talking about
Mhm.
the wellness that's going to start out. And we thought it's going to be more like people that's more quad dominant. But it's not as big as wellness is at this moment. I think wellness looks great. Don't get me wrong. All kudos to them, but it's not my look. It's not how
Yeah.
I've always had big upper legs because I played hockey. So hockey players, bigger legs, quad dominant, all the way. So I had to break away from that, and I hated that shape. So even as growing up as a kid, I will walk in a bikini, but I'll be in my top and I'll wear shorts. I'll never be in my bikini bottom because I hated my legs. My legs were too bulky for me. So
Hmm.
I tried to get away from that, and going into wellness again, I'm like, hell no, I'm not gonna look like that. I hate that look. I hated looking like that all my years. Even though yes, it will look great. I have what it takes to be that, but I don't like it. So if I don't like it, why am I gonna force my body to be that way? I'm not to be first place is not everything for me. I'd rather not compete than look the way that I don't want like looking. So yeah, I just decided the wellness is not for me. I just stopped training quads. I just changed the whole routine of how I train, how I do things. Took extra care, like deadlifts and all of that. Didn't do that. Didn't do squatting. Didn't because I had a very thick waist as well. So I had to try and navigate exercises, ways to trim it down, get it narrow. You know, food. I think I was more concerned about food, so I knew that certain things were making me bloated. So I moved away from those food. Like I can't even remember the last time I ate broccoli because I know broccoli bloats me. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, so there's a few things that I just kind of navigated, a few things that I just completely cut out of my routine, out of my life. I think now for the first time I started training quads again, just because I feel like, well, actually, I had a bit of water retention. Actually, I had a water retention problem when I came to South Africa. I bloated up like a blowfish.
Oh no.
Like, and seriously, I was three times my size when I got to South Africa. I was not used to the climate over here anymore. Like I've been out of South Africa for so long that when I came back, my body wasn't used to the climate. It's extremely warm in South Africa, so I just blew up, like getting completely just blew up. And then it took me a while to get that back. And then I had to go on permanent water retention pills, just to help me with the water retention in the legs. So I'm still struggling with my legs. Like just tonight, I trained legs this morning. I did quad orientated leg exercises. So tonight I felt like, okay, my legs are bloated again. My legs are keeping that water retention. I need to take another pill. So it's something that I need to keep going, keep controlling. But you know how it feels. You know what's wrong with your body. You know what to do at the end of the day. But I feel I'll rather stop competing than put myself into a body that I don't like or that I have a mental problem with. I feel like my mentality, my health is more important than anything else.
That's a really great way of looking at it. It's a good point too, because I think at the end of the day, what matters is, like you said, you'd rather do what makes you happy than the placing, right? Like, and you can be successful and you have been successful in the bikini division. So you have navigated what you want to and you get what you want to out of this. You still have those goals and dreams of hitting the Olympia stage in bikini. Like, none of it's impossible. So it's like, why not stay with where you're happy and thriving, from a health perspective too. And I think if you are going to put as much as we put into this sport, it should be in a division or a category that you
Yeah.
love to be in, that excites you, that
Yeah.
gets you excited to be in the gym. So I'm curious now, what was your feedback from your last show and what are you focused on now?
So my last show, so I got actually, my last trip to America was actually very horrible. But so I was like super stressed. My one phone got stolen. My cards got blocked. I think my accounts got blocked 11 times in total, just on my last trip in America. Yeah, it was horrible. Like it was the most horrible experience. I had to rearrange all my accommodation, all my flights. Everything was last minute. It was horrible. But so what happened is I stayed in Miami, and I'm a person, I hate air conditioning, so don't give me air conditioning. And fortunately, in America, everything is air conditioned. So when I go into a hotel, the first thing I do is I switch off the air condition because I don't like sleeping with it. But in Miami, there was this place that I stayed in, amazing place. But when I switched off the air conditioning, the humidity of the place, like
Oh,
the next morning I woke up, like the whole floor was completely soaked, like in wet.
yes, like it
And I
literally
was
is.
like,
Yeah.
so I was like, hell no, okay, I can't do this. I need to actually, I need to switch this on. So I got sick because of the air conditioning. Because I got the flu, I hold much more water to my rear because everything goes into my rear. So I was holding on to a lot of water weight, water retention. So going into the second show, I was still sick, still holding on to water. Going into the third one, even though we were like pushing really hard, maximizing cardio, I think it was like doing 2 hours of cardio, like really, really grinding. My body was just not like it wasn't happy. Like I was so stressed. I know I was in my last show. I got to Paris and they did not include I did a whole trip. Like I booked a flight where everything was included. So from the one to the next place, it was like a stopover. I didn't realize it was going to be like a 9 hour stopover in Paris. And then I had to climb onto a new plane. When I climbed into the new plane, they told me that I'm not allowed to have my carry-ons and my baggage. I need to pay for it. But my cards just got blocked an hour before I had to get on the plane. It was still 2 hours before New Zealand opens up so I can phone them to unlock my cards. So I missed my flight because they refused to put my baggage on it. They told me I need to leave my baggage behind in America, in Paris. And I'm like, I'm not going to leave my bag behind. Like, I need my bag. And they're like, oh, sorry, we can't help you. If you don't want to help yourself, we can't help you. And I'm like crying. I'm like, I can't leave my bag. This is all I have. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way. So yeah, I missed my flight and then I had to rebook another flight and then I missed my accommodation. So I I wasted so much money on my last trip. It's not even funny because like there's a lot of things I couldn't get refunds for. The accommodation I booked for 2 nights when I arrived in Spain, couldn't get that back because I was late for check-in and everything, and it was too close to canceling it. And then eventually I got to Spain, and like, my cards were still blocked. And luckily for me, thank goodness, the hotel where I stayed at allowed me to stay in the hotel until my cards were unblocked, so I can actually use it again.
Oh my gosh, that is awful. So you don't
Yeah.
feel
So
like it, do you feel like it affected your physique and what you brought? Yeah.
yeah, 100%. Like I was holding on to so much water because I was so stressed. I was not sleeping. I had sleepless nights because I had to wait for New Zealand to open up, and that was in my time period where I was sleeping.
Mm.
So I was so stressed. I wasn't sleeping. I was even coming back to South Africa. When I came back to South Africa, I couldn't sleep here. Like for the first month, I had problems. I'll wake up at like 3, 4 in the
Oh.
morning, or like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'll be up till 4 o'clock in the morning, just lying, can't sleep, can't do anything, and then I'll fall asleep again. But it affected my whole routine, the whole trip, because I was away for a month in America. And I feel that I have unfinished business, because if it wasn't for that stress and all of that and what happened, I would have had a way better physique, way better future. I would have got better placings. So yes, I'm back in South Africa. I feel like I need to spend time with my family, my friends. I haven't seen my family and friends for years. Some of my family members, friends, I haven't seen for 15 years. So I'm just having that time with them, catching up with them, and then setting my future, where I'm going to go. Am I going to America? Am I staying in South Africa? And then from there on, I want to go back next year and go finish some business that's unfinished.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm excited to see that unfold. And obviously, you conquered those goals and those dreams anyways, and you were able to make it happen despite all of that craziness. But it'll be so wonderful to like get redemption in a way. And I've just enjoyed speaking with you
Yeah.
so much today. It's been wonderful to learn from you and to hear your stories and what an incredible woman you are. I mean, I would have never known all of this just from looking at, your online presence. So it's so cool to like know you better. And I'd love for you to share with us your best advice. So what is your best advice for someone who has never competed before but wants to, and your best advice for someone who is on their road to pro?
Okay, so my best advice is get clarity, go to someone who will actually share something with you. So don't feel scared, don't feel like, okay, I'm new to something, I don't know what I'm doing. Rather go and get feedback, go and see who will help you. If people won't help you, go to someone else. Keep asking the questions. Don't be scared to ask questions, because if you don't know, then you can't give your best. And I feel like if I had that, when I started, I would have gone pro way earlier, or actually started going into improvement season way earlier. But you need to take the time. You need to be mentally prepared to go all in. If you're not all in, unfortunately, then the sport is not for you, and you won't be able to be a pro and be successful pro, because that is what it takes. You need to fully commit. You need to be driven. You need to realize that, yes, you will have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning if you want to go and train. So, find someone that is truly there for you. Surround yourself with friends that actually understands. If they don't understand, then you're not on the right friendships, unfortunately, um, because people will have your back if it's meant to be. If you have someone that is not there, that's not supporting you, you need to get a better circle. I feel circle, friendships, vibes, everything is striving to be the best version of yourself at the end. So yeah, if I had advice, is get advice, get surrounded by a better circle, um, be all in, be completely committed, start doing improvement season, even though it's hard. Keep going, look at the changes, look at progress, look at the feedback, like go into how you looked the year before, how you're looking now, is there differences, what do you need to do to up that level, and then strive on it and just shine, like go out there, have your best. When you get to stage, Like you've done all the work. There's nothing you can do, going into stage day. You need to enjoy yourself. Go on there, give your best shot, put out all your, all that confidence, all that hard work, and just let it shine on stage, because you need to enjoy it. Like, you have worked so hard all year round. Go out there, shine, enjoy, and have fun, because it only lasts a few seconds.
Beautiful. I love that. That's like a speech, a monologue in the best way, like something that would really hype somebody up, especially if they feel any sort of limitation to compete or to continue their journey. So thank you for sharing that along with everything that we've talked about. It's been amazing and so insightful, and I'd love for people to be able to reach out to you, thank you, follow you, and potentially even work with you. So how can they do that?
So they can definitely flick me a DM on my Instagram, which is Mariska Pretorius, IFBB Pro, or they can just send me an email, which is mariskaroot, at gmail.com. But I think if they can just reach me on social medias, I can give them my email address. I'm actually deciding to actually restructure everything and add my email to it, which they can just reach on my profile. But everything is on Instagram. So Instagram is the best way to go. If they want to reach out to me, more than happy. I do a lot of challenges, nutrition programs, training programs. I do posing. So yeah, I'm available for anything if anyone ever wants to do.
Awesome. And we'll put that in the show notes page. So you guys, that's always on celestial.fit/podcast. If you're listening right now, it'll be at the top of the page. If you're listening in the future, scroll down to the category section, which is alphabetized. Not only will you find how to connect with us, but you're also going to see a full summary of this episode, a bulleted list of the topics we covered, and episode timestamps so you can go back, listen to your favorite part, share it with your friends, your family, your teammates, let them know what resonated with you. And of course, tag us. Let us know that you listened, what your takeaways were, what you enjoyed. Make sure you thank the athletes who come on this show so openly and vulnerably and courageously sharing their stories to inspire and give us insight as we listen. So, Mariska, thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. It was absolutely amazing to talk to you tonight. I really enjoyed it.
Me too. And to all of you listening, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world while you're listening to this episode. Just make it awesome.